My own son. The boy I carried in my belly. Tried to sneak behind my back and change my bank account like I was some poor old fool. He said, it was a kindness to protect me from myself. But what he forgot is old women like me still hold the pen that writes this family's legacy. And when they realized they were cut out, oh, they learned the hard way. I don't throw fists. I fight my battles in silence. Thank you for sitting with me today, darling. It means more than you know. Sometimes when folks you love turn on you, it feels like you're standing all by yourself in a dark room. But you ain't, not today. I'm glad you're here with me. Now, go on and let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to know who's out there sitting at their table, listening to my old stories, and if someone ever tried to write you out of your own story, if they ever told you you were too old or too small to matter, tell me about it in the comments, darling. 'Cause this space right here, it's for folks like us who still got a voice, still got a story, and still got some fight left in them. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe, 'cause I got more truths to tell, and I sure don't want you to miss them. Let me tell y'all who I am. I'm a 72-year-old widow. Been walking this earth longer than some of y'all been breathing. I lost my husband James 20 years ago, and I ain't laid down since. I rolled up my sleeves, raised my only son all by myself, worked 2 jobs cleaning folks' houses where they never saw me as more than the help, and cooking in the evenings for the church, just to make sure the lights stayed on. I scrubbed floors till my knees cracked and stretched dollars so thin they screamed, but I did it, not for me, but for my family. For Anthony, my boy. I gave him everything I never had, put shoes on his feet for that college degree he liked to brag about, made sure he never knew the taste of hunger. And yet even with all that, Anthony always wanted to run before he learned to walk, always thought the grass was greener in somebody else's yard, always chasing quick money, fasts, and forgetting about the woman who taught him how to tie his shoes and his wife Lisa. Now Lisa, she's the kind of woman that learned to put on pearls before she learned how to say thank you. Polished, smooth talking, got that look in her eye like she above it all. She ain't never liked, truth be told, she saw me as old baggage, didn't like me sitting in on the family money talks, always made sure I felt like an outsider in my own bloodline. She wanted Anthony to believe I was too old, too slow, too country to handle my own affairs. But what they forgot is that old don't mean done. Old means seasoned. And honey chili. Sometimes the hands you feed, the ones you break your back for, they get greedy. They start looking at you like you're the burden, not the blessing. They get hungry for more than what you're offering. They want your place at the table, your seat, your legacy. And when you see that hunger in their eyes, that's when the real fight begins. And baby, they had no idea the fight they woke up in me. It happened on a cold Thursday morning. I remember clear as day. I was in that hospital bed, tubes in my arm, machines beeping like angry birds in my ears. The sheets felt cold, like they forgot I was a person. Felt more like a prisoner than a patient. I had slipped on my porch the day before, cracked my hip, but they acted like I cracked my mind too. Laid me up in that room like I was done for, and that's when I heard him, standing right outside my door like I couldn't hear through walls. Lisa's voice, all soft and fake sweet. But I knew that tone. I heard her say clear as day, she's not thinking straight these days. We need to step in for her own good. And my son, that boy who I rocked in my arms, he just grunted like eerie, didn't even defend me. And I laid there, still as stone, heart beating so loud in my ears, I thought it might bust. But I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. I just listened. And in that moment, I realized they didn't see me no more. They saw an old woman, weak, slipping like my mind had gone soft. But what they forgot is, I may have been laying still, but I was wide awake, and baby, I wasn't slipping. I was listening. Listening to the way they tried to strip me of everything I built, listening to the lies they whispered behind my back, listening to the way they tried to write me off like a chapter that was already closed. But little did they know, I still had a whole book left to write. I laid in that bed, trying to piece myself back together, and that's when I saw it sitting right there on the little table by my bedside. Plain as day, a stack of papers all neat and ready. Not a question mark in sight. Just cold ink on cold paper. It was them durable power of attorney form already filled out with my name at the top, like I was some old fool who couldn't spell her own name. Like I was some charity case needing their patent. They didn't even ask me. Didn't sit down like family. They just decided for me, made plans for me like I was already gone. And I could hear them out in the hall, talking over me like I was invisible. Like the woman who built this family brick by brick had suddenly turned into a piece of old furniture they was ready to throw out. They talked about my house, my money, my future like it was their property, and that broke something deep inside me. It hurt in a place no medicine can reach. I closed my eyes, and I saw all them nights. I stayed up late counting pennies, stretching them nickels till they screamed, skipping meals so Anthony could have new shoes for school, working them jobs nobody wanted, scrubbing floors with my bare hands, so he wouldn't have to. And now he sat out there letting his wife act like I was some washed-up check stub they could just tear off and toss in the trash. And in that moment, lying there with them papers staring at me, I realized the people I loved most had decided I was no longer useful to them, and that cut deeper than any fall. But darling, tears might have rolled down my cheeks, but I didn't let him see. I cried quiet, the way old women do when they done been hurt too many times to scream. But deep down I made a promise to myself right then. If they thought I was invisible, I'd make sure they felt my silence loud enough to rattle their bones. But life got a funny way of sending you help when you least expect it. See, while they was busy plotting and smiling fake smiles around me, they forgot about Mia, my granddaughter, my sweet Mia. She was in Colge upstate, but she always had a soft spot for her granny. She came to see me when nobody else did, slipping in when Lisa and Anthony thought they had me all to themselves. She brought me them little cupcakes I liked and sat by my bedside, holding my hand like I still mattered. And one arseman, while I was pretending to nap, Mia overheard them in the hallway. Heard Lisa talkin' slick about how they was moving forward with the paperwork, how they was already callin' the bank to get access to my accounts, how it was for my own good. And Mia, she ain't no fool. She waited till they left and slid in close to me, tears in her eyes, whisperin', "Granny, they tryin' to take what's yours." And in that moment, something old and fiery lit back up in me. I squeezed her hand, looked her dead in the eye, and I whispered back, "They forgot, I still got a few moves left." And Mia, bless her heart, she looked at me like she was seeing the woman behind the wrinkles, the fighter behind the quiet. And from that day she became my eyes, my ears, my bridge to the world they was trying to shut me out of. She snuck me her phone. She helped me call the right folks. She reminded me I wasn't alone, that this old lion still had some teeth. And baby, they had no idea what they just started. Now darlin', that was the day the tables turned. With Mia's help I called up an old friend of mine, Mr. Green. He ain't just any lawyer. He's the kind that remembers when a handshake meant something and your word was your bond. I ain't talked to him in years, but soon as he heard my voice, he said, "Miss Clara, what trouble they done brought to your door this time?" And I told him everything, every lie, every paper they tried to slide past me, and he listened real quiet like he always did. And then he said the words I needed to hear, "We can fix this." So we got to work. I sat in that hospital bed handshaking, but I signed them papers like I was signing the Declaration of Independence. "Darlin', don't ever mistake quiet for weak," I told Mia as I gripped that pen tighter than I ever held it before. We blocked Anthony and Lisa from getting anywhere near my accounts. We froze them out like a cold winter storm, shut down the trust accounts they was licking their chops over. And let me tell you, baby, there ain't no sound sweeter than the click of a locked door they thought they had the key to. I didn't raise no fuss, didn't scream, didn't make no scenes. I fought them in silence, with paper, with pens, with laws they thought I was too old to understand. But what they forgot is old women like me wrote the rules before they was even born. And while they was running around playing I was sitting back taking back what was mine, one quiet powerful move at a time. Now darlin', that was the day the tables turned. With Mia's help I called up an old friend of mine, Mr. Green. He ain't just any lawyers. He's the kind that remembers when a handshake meant something and your word was your bond. I ain't talked to him in years, but soon as he heard my voice he said, "Miss Clara, what trouble they done brought to your door this time?" And I told him everything, every paper they tried to slide past me, and he listened real quiet like he always did. And then he said the words I needed to hear, "We can fix this." So we got to work. I sat in that hospital bed handshaking, but I signed them papers like I was signing the Declaration of Independence. "Darlin', don't ever mistake quiet for weak," I told Mia as I gripped that pen tighter than I ever held it before. We blocked Anthony and Lisa from getting anywhere near my accounts. We froze them out like a cold winter storm, shut down the trust accounts they was licking their chops over. And let me tell you, baby, there ain't no sound sweeter than the click of a locked door they thought they had the key to. I didn't raise no fuss, didn't scream, didn't make no scenes. I fought them in silence, with paper, with pens, with laws they thought I was too old to understand. What they forgot is old women like me wrote the rules before they was even born, and while they was running around playing rich, I was sitting back taking back what was mine, one quiet powerful move at a time. When the time was right, I didn't call no lawyer to speak for me. I called for a family dinner, just the way they liked it, at my house, my table, the one they forgot I still owned. I cooked up a good meal, fried chicken, greens, cornbread, the kind of food that makes folks let their guard down. They came in smiling like everything was normal, like they still held all the cards. They sat themselves down, filled their plates, talked loud like they still ran the show, but I sat quiet, watched 'em eat, let 'em get good and comfortable, and when they was done filling their bellies, I reached into my old worn purse, pulled out that one piece of paper that was about to change their whole world, slid it right across the table, the new will, signed, sealed, and ready. I looked Anthony dead in the eye and said, "Here's the only paper y'all need to read tonight." And oh, the way his face froze, like he bit into something sour. He tried to play it off, tried to act like he didn't know what I was talking about, stutterin', lyin', actin' like they did it for my safety for love. But I wasn't having it. I cut him off before he could finish his pretty speech. I leaned in slow and said, "You called it kindness. I call it theft. And let me tell you, child, there was no shoutin', no cussin', just that heavy thick silence that fills a room when the truth finally shows up." They sat there, mouths open, looking at me like they saw a ghost. But baby, I wasn't no ghost. I was the same woman who built that table they was sitting at. And they forgot, you don't play games in a house that ain't yours. And that night, the silence choked him more than any words ever could. "Darlin', sometimes the folks you raise, the ones you feed, clothe and sacrifice everything for, they grow up and forget the hands that held 'em when they was cryin', forget the back that bent over to lift 'em higher, forget the love that built the roof over their heads, and they start thinking they can push you to the side like you yesterday's news. But let me tell you something, you still got the right to stand your ground. You still got the right to protect what's yours, no matter how old they say you are, no matter how many times they try to write you out the story. Old women like me, like you, we still write the last line, and we write it quiet, sharp, and permanent. They can whisper all they want behind closed doors, but the truth got a way of showing up when you sit still and let it. So if you sitting out there listening to me and you got your own story, if they tried to erase you, tried to tell you your time was up, don't you swallow that lie, darling. Don't let 'em write you out. Tell me your story. Drop it down in the comments. I want to hear it. I want to know we ain't as alone as they think. We still here, we still standing, and we still got stories worth telling. And if you felt this in your heart, go ahead and share it. 'Cause maybe someone out there needs to hear they ain't the only one fighting quiet battles from the porch.